Why would she bring hacksaw blades into a maximum security prison? Why?
That's a good drink that you made for me. How is the drink that you made for you?
Same as yours. Pretty good. Excellent.
So, are we going to talk about that?
No.
Why not?
Well, what if the parole officer listens?
You'd get in trouble for more things than that if the parole officer listened. You beat some guy up at work.
They can't prove that. But if I say I'm
hit
drinking,
some guy on the train.
So
You're violent.
So you want to bring this into the podcast?
Why not?
Why?
Why be fake?
Oh, we're not fake by any means.
We don't have to.
We're not opposed to it.
If you end up struggling with it and we end up talking about it, yeah, it would be like a betrayal that we didn't talk about it from the beginning, that you're going to casually indulge. You know what I mean? And then suddenly, bam, you're stressed out. And
Yeah.
But you don't not drink because because you have a propensity to get addicted, right? You're not drinking because it's a parole violation.
Yeah, that's why I'm not drinking.
That's the only reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know what? That's one of the things I love about these discussions is you just looked at the big picture, the part I wasn't looking at. What if? Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Does that mean I have a discerning reason?
You do have a discerning reason. Yes, you have a discerning reason.
And you're not the first parolee that I've contributed to the delinquency of. I asked my friend Cody, who's been on parole been out for 2 years after doing 40 years, and I thought that it was my fault that he had started drinking again because I thought that his first drink was with me, and he said, no, I started drinking immediately when I got out because I was just so fucking freaked out. I didn't know how to calm my nerves. I didn't know what to do. And then we have I just heard a baby cry. They're not even babies in this building. That is amazing. These mics are...
I hear it. Must be a stroller downstairs.
Maybe it's a cat.
Could be a cat. That's not even a technical violation anymore. They can't even violate you for drinking.
Now it's different. But then he went back in for one more year. We need to do an episode on fucking violations. That is a circus. That's a circus.
It is a circus.
Yeah.
It is a circus. Barnum and Bailey.
Can you go prison on that baby, please? Because he keeps fucking up the podcast.
I can. I can open the window and say, shut the fuck up down there, you little bald-headed bastard.
You want me to give you something to cry about?
Yeah, I'll give you something to cry about, you little drooling little munchkin.
It sounds like a newborn, right?
Yeah.
Like, all right. We are having a drink together.
Yeah, so I decided that, I hadn't been drinking anything at all in over a year. Well, since I got out, right? Because, it's one of those stipulations. But I'm like, you know what? They don't respect the things I have been doing. So fuck it, I'm just going to live my life. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to try and stay within perimeters that are not going to get me in trouble. And I'm going to enjoy a drink once and twice. But I have put a barrier up to my drinking. And I don't even want to call it drinking because I'm certainly not going to drink to drunk. I may drink to get a nice buzz, but I don't see me falling down drunk, if you know what I mean. But I have put a barrier up in that I'm not going to drink anything alcoholic unless I'm with you.
Okay.
So, like when we're podcasting, I'll have one, maybe two.
Yeah.
But when we're out, like eating dinner or something, I might have one, never two, because I'm driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good thing we only hang out twice a week, because otherwise you'd be drinking a lot if I'm back on the wagon. So, do we have anything to say about sneak thieves? Oh, I have a question.
Okay, what is it?
You said we would always catch them after they'd steal shit in the night.
There's usually they always get caught.
How do you catch them? What do you mean?
You'll bait them sometimes. Like they have this stuff, so you can get the stuff from the firehouse if you know anybody that works in the firehouse. Every facility has a fireman or firehouse.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A fire officer, yeah. They don't all have fire trucks, but they all have a fire station where they have to make sure the fire extinguishers are full, make sure that the place is in state compliance with fire rules. So there's a fire officer at every facility. Oh. And he always has a convict that works with him because this motherfucker ain't carrying them fire extinguishers, right? So if you know that guy, they have this powder. It's actually a white powder, but it turns clear as soon as you put it down. But anyone who touches it it shows up under fluorescent light. So if you put something in there, like, so you know somebody's stealing ice creams. So you take this powder and you sprinkle it on the ice cream, and you put it in the freezer, and you go to bed. Next day you wake up, you check the freezer and it's gone. You just line everybody up. Get the fluorescent light, shine it on their fingers, and the guy that lights up gets his fucking ass handed to him, and he goes, tells the CO, I gotta move. That's how you find your sneak thief.
So you sprinkle it on your shoe?
You can sprinkle. Why would
Because you said they stole your speakers or your sneakers.
Well, they steal sneakers. They'll steal anything that's out. So if you know there's a sneak thief who's stealing sneakers or something, then there's other ways. Let's say a guy steals a pair of Timberland boots, right? Say, okay, you put the word out that somebody stole this pair of Timberland boots, and whoever bought them can keep them, but we want to know who's got them and who sold them. Guy's going to say, hey, man, I bought these boots. Most of the time, the guy will bring the boots back and say, look, man, I bought these boots. I didn't know they were stolen. I paid 2 packs for them.
Really?
Yeah. Well, here's your 2 packs, bro. Most of the time? Yeah, most of the time.
Oh, that's
Here, bro,
cool.
here's your 2 packs, man. Thank you. Who sold them to you? That guy did. He's done.
Oh, shit.
He gets his ass handed to him, tells the cop I can't live here. I got to go. Off the PC he goes.
But you have only 60 people in your dorm or something, right?
But he'll sell them outside the dorm. He won't sell them in the dorm.
So you can see someone in the yard walking around in them, right?
Well, there might be 50 pair of sneakers, so it might be the same shoes. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's
right,
because you're limited about what you can order.
Right,
yeah.
right. So, you might see that and not really know, unless you mark them when you get them, like I always cut a chunk of rubber out of mine, so I would know they were mine. Some guys don't mark them on purpose because they don't want the problems. If somebody steals their shit, they're just like, fuck it, man, I'll go get another pair, because they know if somebody steals your shit, you find who stole it, you got to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you're marked as a bitch, right? So a lot of guys like, man, it ain't worth it. $50 pair of sneakers, it ain't fucking worth it. I'll just go, So some guys won't mark their shit and won't complain if you steal from them. You don't hear anything.
Yeah.
To me, that's cowardice. I don't do that. That's bitch shit right there.
So you actually did that thing with the powder?
Yeah, I used to get it from the firehouse.
Oh, is it that, like, when I have to go into a prison and I get that stamp that you can't see, but you see it under the light?
Yeah, except the powder. Yeah, except it's a powder that if you touch it, it shows up incandescent green or blue on your hands. Shines bright. You can't miss it. Yeah, same thing.
So they're doing that? It makes no sense. Like, it makes sense if I were a dude that could swap places with someone and help someone escape, but for me, going into a facility, why do they stamp this thing on my arm that I can't see?
Right.
And anytime I go through a doorway or
It
go
shows
to
up
another
under the
location, I have to flash my arm under this device that scans it.
Right.
It's a number.
Right.
Usually. What the fuck? What is it? It's just
It's a protection. So they do it to absolutely everybody, so they can't be accused of discrimination. That's why they do it to women too.
Of course, yeah.
Positions. So everybody gets it, and the number changes every day, and the number's at random.
But it is really for that purpose, right? So that I can't swap with someone?
Yeah, so some twin brother can't go in, swap with his brother and say, hey, you motherfuckers, he knocked me out, you held me under my,
Yeah.
Right, so that's what it's for. So some twin brother can't go in and get his brother out who's doing life, and then he only gets, you helped him escape, all right, give me my 5 years and I'm done. Meanwhile, his brother who's doing life is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it's for.
Hi, boss.
Hi, boss.
Hi, boss.
Hi, boss.
That?
Oh
my God.
You're the boss, man.
I'm the boss.
We call me the boss, but...
Hi, second tier boss.
I've been
You're
demoted.
the fucking boss. Come on.
I'm not sure I like being demoted.
If you're the boss, you know how that we know that you're the boss?
How do we know, P?
Because when you're happy, I'm super happy. And when
Yeah.
you're in a bad mood, I'm in a bad mood.
Okay, I'll buy that. I'm the boss.
Someone get me off this fucking ride.
Yeah.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, get me off
You're
this fucking
taking
ride.
me. Someone get me off this fucking ride.
Well, I'm in a super happy mood today. So, I'm glad you're in a good mood.
So,
Yeah.
speaking of people trying to escape,
Were we speaking of people trying to escape?
with there's someone helping their twin brother escape, and that's why they use the number.
Okay. All right. Nice segue. I missed it entirely. Go ahead.
That's what made me think of hi boss,
I'm
because
on
we
my
were just
second
talking
drink.
randomly, and
I'm
all
on my
of a sudden-
second drink and I don't
See?
drink, so...
Do you see how hard it is?
Yeah. You see, there's...
Now you get why I start mumbling and blah, 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 blah. What were we talking
While
about?
you do flipper, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead. You said last week that we had a request.
Yeah, from
So
John.
I've been waiting to
From
hear
a
what
guy
this
named
is.
John.
Guy named John. What John?
I'm not going to say his last name, Hughes.
Did he say it was okay to use his last name?
I don't know.
Oh, well, see, that's what we were talking about. Hopefully it's okay, John, because we used it. But in the future, people, if you write in, let us know if it's okay to use your name.
I don't know what the rules are because I've never done this before.
I don't either. It just seems like we need permission to call people out, I think. Maybe or not. I don't even know. Maybe it doesn't matter.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Okay, so what did John ask for?
Do you recognize the name David Sweat?
Oh, fuck yeah. Dannemora escape.
That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
David Sweat and Richard Matt.
Yeah.
The two guys who escaped in 2015.
Yeah.
It's a fucking crazy story.
Richard didn't make it. He got killed.
He did.
He was a weird bastard to start with, but anyway. They're both weird motherfuckers if you look at them.
Oh my God. Let's talk about this.
Yeah?
Yeah, and then I just wanted to ask you a few questions about escapes in general. Here's the thing.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, no, I love when you go, here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
Okay, this is for Kim. Kim, I'm going to tell you the deal.
This is the deal.
That was
And I did. I broke it down, I thought.
You did. People are going to hate you on the inside.
No, fuck them. They're on the inside.
Dave texted me.
Yeah.
People are not going to be happy about this.
He's right. They weren't.
So,
Okay, so what did John ask for?
he said he wanted to hear about if you had ever done time with either one of those guys or with David specifically, and I think you haven't. But I think we should talk about this anyway because everyone on the inside seems to know about these guys and everyone has an opinion. And I'm saying that because when it happened, I asked Amir about it and then I asked that guy Cody about it. Both of them said, those guys are fucking idiots because if they had the chance and they were outside and I would steal a fucking bicycle and bike myself out of there. And, you know, everyone's got an opinion of what they would have done if they had been in that situation and
Sure.
had the opportunity.
Sure.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. At the Innocence Project, once a year I would get that list of people who were we hadn't heard from in a while, you know, to say, hey, are you still alive or what's going on? Were you released? Like, we can't find you and we're working on your case, right? And everyone would get like 100 people to get in touch with. And on my list, there would always be one or two that had, you know, in the Department of Corrections database, it would say escaped. And so I think that people don't realize, I fucking couldn't believe it, that it's so common. It's so common that just on our list, we hadn't heard from these people, presumably, possibly wrongfully convicted people,
right.
because they fucking escaped.
They escaped, yeah.
And it's not in the media because
No.
the DOC doesn't want to advertise it, obviously.
Right.
This was a big deal because the whole fucking Clinton County was up in arms over, you know.
But see, here's the thing. How did Clinton County find out? How did they find out these guys escaped?
How did they?
Exactly.
Do you know?
That's the question, right? How did they find out these guys escaped? Who told them?
Tell me, do you know?
I kind of know. So the cop who reported it, the cop that found it at 5:30. Now they say the cop missed him at 5:30 count, which is an absolute lie because there's no 5:30 count in Clinton. I was there. The count is at 6 o'clock. So they're saying the cop missed him at the 5:30 count, couldn't find them, blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. No. This cop probably checked on them at 4:30, couldn't find them because their beds were made up like dummies. Mm-hmm. They probably did an internal search between 4:30 and 5:30 and figured out, oh, these big holes in the wall, these motherfuckers are gone, you know?
Yeah.
And somebody said, well, I'm not going to go down for this, and somebody called a reporter or somebody called the state police. And that's how it got reported. Otherwise, this wouldn't have been reported either.
Somebody, meaning one of the COs, you're
One of
saying,
the COs.
leaked it because they didn't want to go down for it.
They didn't want to go down for it. They said, no, I'm not going down for this. Probably some guy who was supposed to make rounds didn't make rounds, and somebody else was going to get blamed for not making rounds on his shift because the roundsman shifts change. Then they change at odd hours. They're called floaters. Mm-hmm. So they're hours late. So a regular officer might work 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 11 to 7. That's the 3 shifts. Floaters work between those shifts so that there's always coverage when the shifts are changing. So one of the floaters probably didn't do his job, and the officer coming on said, I'm not taking responsibility for this, fuck that, and he called somebody.
So I'm gonna read about it so people actually know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Wikipedia.
Wicca.
2015 Clinton Correctional Facility. It's in Dannemora, New York. It was a jailbreak that took place on June 6th, 2015, when 2 inmates, Richard Matt and David Sweat, were discovered missing at a 5:17 a.m. bed check at the maximum security Clinton County facility in Dannemora, New York. So 5:17, that's a bed check? Not really.
There's no bed check at 5:17.
Okay.
Now the roundsman can come around at 5:17, but he's not waking you up.
Right. Wikipedia doesn't know that. Matt was serving 25 years to life. Sweat was serving life without parole, both for murder. The 2 prisoners had dug a tunnel out of the prison with tools obtained from two cooperating prison employees. Nearly 3 weeks after the escape, Matt was found in Malone, New York. Hey, that's where Franklin Correctional is.
Yeah, it's up by Clinton. It's up by the border. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
like 2 miles from the border, 3 miles.
Where he was shot and killed. And 2 days after that, Sweat was shot and taken into custody. The manhunt and investigation were said to have cost about $23 million. Wow, why?
Because they called everybody out. They had no choice. Cops were working overtime and everything.
Because the county was up in arms.
Every CO was out looking for him.
That's the thing, too. They assume they're going to go on a rampage shooting people or murdering people, right? So the whole county is like on
I mean, that's
high
Hollywood,
alert.
right?
But in reality, like,
They're just trying to get away.
escaping because they want to fucking get away from prison, not go back in.
That's Hollywood, right?
You don't want to get out and kill a bunch
One
of
of them
people.
did shoot at somebody.
Okay, okay. David Paul Sweat. He had a troubled childhood,
Just like me.
just like you. After being sent to Florida to be raised by an uncle, he stole and wrecked his aunt's car. Who the fuck? What? Why is that? Anyway, he went into foster care because
Just showing how bad he was.
That's fucked up. Yeah,
They killed him,
how
so
bad
they
he
want
was.
you to know.
Stole and wrecked his aunt's car. Okay. I mean, who didn't steal and wreck their aunt's fucking car?
I didn't.
You didn't do that?
I stole and wrecked my
I thought
dad's.
everyone did that.
I stole and wrecked my dad's, but not my aunt's.
Okay.
No. I had sex with my aunt. I don't know if that counts.
Did you?
I did.
Your aunt?
Have a drink. I'll tell you about it sometime. Yeah, I did. My Aunt Jewel. A
Stop.
couple times.
Your mother's sister?
It was my mother's brother's wife.
That's a little less offensive.
Only
Or
slightly.
it's a little less
Only
weird.
slightly, yeah.
Okay.
Aunt Jewel, yeah.
You had sex with your aunt?
Yeah.
She had sex with you?
Yeah, I was like 16, 17.
How old was she?
She must have been in her 30s.
Oh my fucking
Tall,
God.
really pretty brunette.
Wow.
Fucked her brain down a few times.
Stop.
All right, I'm just saying, you know, she
You're
was
full of
stupid when I got
surprises.
finished.
I mean, that's called like sexual abuse in another
No, I didn't abuse her at
scenario.
all. I kissed her and rubbed her. And she was silly when I got finished. No abuse at all. I played with her feet. It was great.
I need a recovery minute. Just 1 minute. Oh my God. Okay. All right.
You want to laugh so bad.
Anyway, it goes into his crime. Whatever. Who cares
Okay,
about
yeah,
that?
Who cares about that? Right?
So
We
they
know what he
escaped.
did. He didn't he tie up his boss and dismember him?
No, that was the other guy.
That was the other guy. So then he killed a police officer.
He burglarized a fireworks store, stole firearms.
No, but the crime he was doing life for, he killed a police officer. Didn't
He killed a cop who was coming to arrest them while they were transferring their firearms in a parking lot from one vehicle to another. So he opened fire on the cop and he hit him multiple times.
Okay,
Ran over him with a car. It was bad. That's bad.
that's bad. Okay, go ahead.
I think he survived though.
Cop died.
No, he did die. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was still alive after he had the car running over him. He was still alive, and then the other guy, the co-defendant, shot the cop 2 times in the face. So, okay, on June 6, 2015, Matt and Sweat were found to be unaccounted for during the 5:30 a.m. morning count.
I went to 5:30 from 5:17. It's changing. Story's changing.
Yeah, it changed.
All right.
Having last been seen at the 10:30 p.m. count. So it's already like jumbled. Like why can't you get it straight? Obviously there are logs for everything, right? Because no one wants to be held accountable. It was reported that an external breach was found in a street approximately 500 feet outside of the prison wall. The inmates had tunneled out of the facility.
That's not true, see? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Matt and Sweat had been housed in Honor Block, a privileged housing unit. So what are they complaining about? I'm just kidding. Not funny? That's not funny, right? They were in the fucking Honor Block. They had their own kitchen, right? A privileged housing unit that allowed them access to cooking stations, televisions, wall-mounted telephones, showers, and card tables in the cell house at specified intervals during the day. According to news reports, the escapees used tools from contractors to cut their escape tunnel during the nights and return them to their toolboxes afterwards.
Not true.
The escape was elaborate and had been compared to the escape made in the novella and film by Stephen King called The Shawshank Redemption.
Great movie. Loved it.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo took a walking tour of the facility with publicity cameras present.
Suffers from assholism. Como suffers from assholism. But go ahead.
Authorities found that the two had planned to be picked up by a prison employee, Joyce Mitchell.
Yeah.
However, according to a relative, Mitchell developed chest pains and was hospitalized. A second employee, prison guard Gene Palmer, was also charged with aiding the escape. Palmer admitted to investigators that he smuggled tools into the prison and did other favors for Richard Matt in exchange for paintings. Do you know this guy, Palmer? You did paintings. Do you know Palmer? No. Well, you don't know.
I know his face. I've seen his
everyone.
face, but I mean, I know him, but I've never talked to him.
Because he was an old timer
Yeah.
CO, right?
Yeah, he's an old school guy, yeah.
A note was left behind on the pipe. The two escapees had cut to escape, reading,
Have
"Have
a
a
nice
nice day." Authorities searched the farms and fields around the towns of Willsboro, New York, after receiving a tip that Matt and Sweat may have been spotted there on June 9th. Authorities spent June 9th and 10th retracing their steps near Dannemora and searching Willsboro, and also expanded the search to the border with Vermont, saying that the two may have tried to flee the state. Authorities in Canada, including the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and departments along the border with the U.S. and Mexico, where Matt had previously been convicted of murder, were also alerted. The FBI, U.S. Customs, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and blah, 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 blah. All these people, New York State Forest Rangers, Adirondack Park Reserve Rangers, they were all called in on the search, which was being led by the local police, right, and the U.S. Marshal Service, working with prison officials. A $50,000 bounty was set for each inmate by Cuomo and subsequently increased to $75,000 when U.S. Marshals added $25,000 for each escapee. There were no reports of break-ins, robberies, or homicides, but there were two reported sightings. Schools were closed. Oh my God. A stretch of a highway was closed. And billboards asking for help were put up in New Jersey, Vermont, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and along the U.S.-Canadian border. There were helicopters, all-terrain vehicles, and search dogs, but there were bad weather conditions, including rain, that was hampering efforts. Search eventually shifted back onto an area near the prison after a cabin near Owl's Head in Franklin County appeared to have been broken into, and DNA from the inmates was found in the cabin. On the seventh day of the search, there were still no confirmed sightings of the escapees, but later that day, prison worker Joyce Mitchell was arrested and charged with aiding the escapees. In the days after the escape, many prisoners reported having been beaten by guards in an attempt to obtain information as to the whereabouts and plans of the escaped inmates. That's fucked up. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
God, if anyone knows one of those guys, if anyone's listening to this and knows anyone who was at Clinton at the time, I want to talk to them. I want to hear what was going on there.
I talked to a couple of those guys that were there afterwards. And yeah, that was all going on. And obviously, and even Como himself, was in there being sarcastic. You can see him doing it. And a couple of guys told me, they went to the neighbor's cell and said, "I know you heard something,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and the guy's telling him, what the fuck you expect me to do? You expect me to tell on him? Look at where we fucking live. Fuck you,
But other people knew stuff?
Sure, you could hear him.
Okay.
So he goes to the neighbor's cell, and this is on TV. You can see it. It's on the news. CNN, I think. And he goes, "Well, you must have heard something them saws. There's a lot of noise going on. You must have heard something, And then they cut it because guys on the inside said the guy told him, "Well, what the fuck did you expect me to do? To tell on him? To help you? Seriously? What are you doing for us?"
Yeah.
Nothing. You don't come here unless there's a crisis,
Yeah.
But anyway, so they cut a 2 foot by 2 foot square in the backs of their cells. Now that's 1/4 inch steel. They did not cut through 1/4 inch steel that everybody thinks they did. In the back of each cell, normally placed behind the bed, is an air vent. So there's big fans on the roof. Mm-hmm. And these fans pull air out, not in. They don't blow air in. They pull air out through the pipe chase. And those vents that are in your cell allows those fans to pull air through your cell, so you have ventilation, you have air movement inside the block and out. So the air comes in the windows, out these vents. And so they cut those vents off to crawl through those vents and get into the pipe chase. Once you're in the pipe chase, you can go anywhere in the block, or you can go into the tunnels. So that's what they did to get out of their cells and get into the pipe chase.
So if the neighbors knew what was going on, wouldn't people want to be in on it too?
Not everyone, because some people wouldn't believe in it, or some people maybe they just told them, "Listen, mind your fucking business." No, these were not easy. These were not soft guys. These were not nice people. You know, I mean, they were a couple of badasses, both of them.
But didn't they have to behave, at least on the inside, to get into the honor block?
Sure. On the surface, you have to be. I've been in the honor block. On the surface, you do, sure.
But they weren't fighting all the time or anything, right?
You don't have to. Once you've gained the respect and the reputation, people are not going to try you. Everybody picks their shots. Mm-hmm. People aren't going to pick you. So unless you're putting your face out there, you know, like for instance, one of them lost like 50 pounds just so he'd be small enough to fit through the fucking hole. It was the one that got murdered. Matt. So he lost 50 pounds just so he'd be small enough to fit through the fucking hole. You know, I mean, that's dedication, right? So you're not going to go out and get a stupid ticket. And then they both got together and talked to the cops and the COs and did whatever they had to do to get moved in next to each other. So they had it pretty well planned out. They had a system and they stuck to it.
It's an unlikely alliance because they come from such different worlds and different generations. Even like one, so Matt was only, the younger one, Sweat. He was born in 1980.
It doesn't matter. Inside, you're inside. You know what I mean? The age difference and all that. I mean, you, like you said, you connect with who you connect with inside. It's a different world, right? If they're hanging out together, there was something about each of them that they recognized in each other. One of them dismembered his fucking victim.
That's Matt.
Okay, yeah. And the other one killed a cop. Mm-hmm. So neither one of them were nice people, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, aren't the people who killed cops, I asked you this before, but aren't they seen as, isn't it okay to kill a cop if you're, you know?
To a convict, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but think about the psyche it takes to do that, right?
Drugs and fear combined, you know, it's drug-fueled adrenaline.
So then you make friends with this guy who dismembers his boss. Yeah, I kidnapped my boss for money and cut his fucking body into pieces. Okay, this guy's for real.
Well, listen, you guys, you don't know what other people were convicted of because you didn't know. We've looked up several of your friends who were in for things other than what they told you that they were in for.
But if there was any time I ever wanted to know, I could go look. Mm-hmm. I didn't go look because history had taught me that if I do go look, I'm not going to have any friends. I'm not going to be anybody to talk to because everybody has a fucking story. Everybody has a suit.
Yeah.
Nobody in prison is guilty. Drug dealers never use drugs. They just sell them. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, anyone who has a crime against a child or a female or an elderly person is not guilty. But the people who killed a cop, they might admit that they're guilty, right?
Maybe. So if he was an actual cop killer, then yeah, that would raise him up in the eyes of the rest of the prisoners. Yeah, that guy killed a cop. Oh, that's cool. Fuck them cops. Nobody likes cops in prison because nobody's got a fair shake. Nobody's had a fair trial. Nobody trusts fucking authority. So if that guy killed cops, yeah, that's great. But the cop killer he's already okay. The dismemberment guy may go, well, let me go. You know, they get together, they make friends, they're working in industry together, and they go, let's get the fuck out of here because neither one of us are ever getting out. One's sentenced to life without parole, and the other one's sentenced to what, 25 to life? Mm-hmm. So we're never getting out of here. Let's get together. Let's get the fuck out of here. Okay, let's make a plan. Their plan was brilliant.
Tell me about the honor block. What sort of privileges do you get for being in there?
Well, your cell stays open between counts. That's one privilege, is you get to go in and out of your cell. Everybody gets to visit in and out of your cell. So you're on the company. The company doors are locked, so you can't leave the company. But your cells are open, and there's a common area where there's a television, there's hot plates to cook, there's refrigerators, there's card tables where you play cards and things like that. So that's the difference, is you're not locked in between counts. You don't have to be in the yard.
So that's how they were able to go together in the same cell, be locked in there after the doors closed?
They weren't in the same cell. They were next to each other.
There was only one hole, though.
There was 2 cells cut. They were
2 holes cut from 2 cells?
3 holes total.
Fuck.
2 cells and 1 pipe. So they both cut their vents out so that they could fit through there.
What do you know about the female that helped them? Was she a CO or was she a...
She's a civilian employee, so she was a supervisor in the tailor shop. Her job was to teach these guys to make clothes. They make the shirts, they make the pants, they make the underwear, they make the t-shirts, they make the mattresses, used to make the pillows. I don't know if they still do. They probably still do. They make the CO's uniforms, the whites for the mess halls. They pretty much make all the clothing for all the convicts. and all the COs. So her job would be to teach them to do this.
And her husband was a CO also at Clinton at the time.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think he wasn't he a maintenance worker?
At the prison?
Yeah.
So are you saying neither one of them were COs?
Neither one of them were COs.
But they both worked at the prison.
But they both worked at Dannemora.
And what did you see about her relationship with them?
They used her.
That she was fucking both of them, right?
I don't know if she was fucking them or not. She's pretty ugly, but they may have been fucking her.
That's so mean. That's
sorry.
super mean.
Okay, well, she was unattractive.
And like you have a fucking choice when you're an inmate?
Sure, you can buy pussy. Of course you have a choice. What are you talking about? I thought we had this grudge fucking thing, this whole episode.
Yeah, I know that, but so they manipulated this poor woman.
Oh, stop it.
First
and foremost, she's part of the family business. There's nothing poor about her. She
she's
deserves
a
no
civilian,
sympathy.
though.
She's still working inside corrections and goes home every day and wishes it off. She deserves no sympathy. She's
what do you
part
mean?
of the problem.
So you think as a fucking seamstress, you think like in this I don't know, warehouse or whatever room that she works with sewing machines and shit, she's seen lots of abuse that she doesn't report?
Correct.
In that room?
Every day.
And she's in a position to report them?
Everyone's in a position to report it. You just have to have the balls
Every
to do
day
it.
stuff is going? Every day, everywhere?
Every day.
Every
Some
room?
guy don't show up for work because he got stomped out by COs, and the other people went to see, yeah, the COs kicked his fucking ass last night, man. It was terrible. Okay, we'll get that stuff sewn up, all right? We'll talk about that later. Get those clothes ready.
All right.
All right? So she's no better than the rest of them. She deserves no sympathy.
But they used her
Yes.
and got her to sneak in little saws, right? Is that what it was?
They got her to sneak in. They got her to manipulate a CO. So it was two people. She got the tools, put them inside hamburger meat, delivered them to a CO who delivered them to their cells. The CO delivered them for paintings. He said, I didn't know they were going to use the tools to escape. Well, what the fuck did you think they were going to use hacksaws for, you stupid motherfucker?
Frames.
Making frames, yeah. They were going to cut cupcakes, you know? Yeah. So, but that's his stories. He didn't know that they were going to use them for escape.
So she gets arrested and ends up doing 5 years for aiding and abetting, basically. And
Right.
did he do time? Oh, his name was Palmer.
Palmer just had to resign.
Gene Palmer, yeah.
I think he resigned, is what it was.
He pleaded guilty to promoting prison contraband, which is a felony, and he was sentenced to 6 months in jail and a $5,000 fine, $5,375 fine. He served 4 months of that and was released for good behavior.
Right.
In jail, in the county jail.
Right, county jail. Because they had to keep him separate from all the rest of the inmates.
Right.
Because they get his fucking ass handed to him.
Right.
Kidding me? Fuck yeah, he kept him in solitary.
See, I was wondering that because she went to, Bedford, and he did a little bit of time in jail. She went to a state prison and was there for 5 years. So,
Right.
Was she applauded or was she abused in prison?
I would imagine that her story changed when she got to prison. I would imagine her story was, yeah, man, we were in love and we were going to run and we were going to do this and we were going to kill my husband and blah, blah. And she became a pseudo-hero in prison. And I imagine her story changed. Yeah, I just said to the authorities what I had to say to get this 5-year bid. But we were out of here. We were going to Mexico. Everybody's like, fuck yeah, she helped these dudes escape. So I would imagine she was fine in prison.
Are you saying that because women like to hear about love? Or, why? I thought that they would both be applauded just for helping people break fucking free from this horribly abusive life that they're living.
No, because in court she flipped. And she flipped on them.
Here's the thing, she flipped left and right. So we've got CNN and ABC saying totally different things.
I'm not saying her story flipped. This is not
her
what I'm
story
saying.
changed.
No.
I think her story changed.
Yeah, her story did change over time. Okay, because her story changed to fit her, fit the narrative she was trying to build.
And I feel bad to say that because I feel like she was also a victim in this situation, and I feel like an asshole for saying that. But she really did change. She told. Go ahead.
I don't see her as a fucking victim at all. Fuck her. She's not a victim at all. Here's the thing.
She's not a victim. You made her out to be a victim to me by saying she was unattractive and they used her.
Okay, but that doesn't mean she's a fucking victim. I'm unattractive.
I am moved by that.
Okay, like, you are. So here's what I'm saying. She went to work every fucking day in a prison where they were kicking the shit out of people, killing them, and taking them out in fucking helicopters. And she went to home every night and went to bed. Fuck her. She's part of the problem. She knows about that shit.
So you're saying every single prison employee, every single staff member, civilian teachers and things like that, they also should be held accountable for the blood that's shed on the outside?
And why shouldn't they? If they know about it, and if they don't know about it, then of course they can't be held accountable.
Maybe they see the ruthlessness and they don't understand the backstory, so they don't want to go there.
Then they're responsible. I don't care what you understand or don't understand.
Maybe the CEOs say that this person is
If you see it and it scares you and you know it's wrong, otherwise it wouldn't scare you, and you say nothing, you're just as guilty as the motherfucker who did it.
Or they're afraid, like they know about, everyone knows about Donna Payan, right? Oh, she was going to fucking blow the whistle and she ended up murdered and thrown into a fucking trash
That
can.
doesn't dismiss it. It doesn't dismiss the responsibility. People die every day standing up for what the fuck they believe in.
Okay. Sweat and Matt separated.
Sweaty Matt.
They separated. They found Matt, fucking shot him because he probably pulled a Jerry.
No, he shot at 2 civilians. See, he had a gun. He stole a gun from the cabin that they found. Remember, there was a cabin.
Oh yeah.
He found a gun in a hunting cabin, took the gun. That's when they decided to separate. He shot. So he tried to carjack some people on a dirt road. The people just drove on by, wouldn't stop for him, so he shot at them. Shot a hole in their camper. They got about 6, 7, 8 miles down the road, seeing that there was a hole in their camper, called the police. That's how the police found him, tracked him down, and murdered him.
Shit. Because at that point, he was all out Jerry. He was like, I'm not going to fucking be taken.
I think so.
Yeah.
And like I said, he had lost 50 pounds, to go through the pipe, and he just had all this shit going on, so yeah.
So ABC News, prison worker Joy, this is in 2015. Joyce Mitchell admits to detectives to having sex with escapee in a tailor shop with one of them. Okay, so she admitted to having sex with Matt, Richard Matt in the tailor shop. And then she told investigators she also had been having a sexual relationship with Sweat and that she was in love with Sweat and she had sex with him on the day that he escaped. So, and then later, in CNN and everywhere else, it's like she never had a sexual relationship with them. And by the way, she did 5 years, got out, and she's still with her husband and publicly says, I've never, had a sexual relationship with either one of them. I didn't know that they were going to use the tools for that, blah, blah, blah. So...
What?
Who the fuck knows?
Doesn't that part kill you, man, when they say, I didn't know they were going to use the tools for? They want hacksaws. What do you think they used them for? You wrap one end in tape and you've got a handle, right?
Yep.
So that's what they had.
Yeah.
They had hacksaw blades.
Yeah, obviously they're up to no good.
You can't cut anything but metal with them. That's what they're for.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were going to use them for escape.
The whole situation is so sad. And she's got kids, or at least one. She's a mother. By the way, have you seen Escape from Dannemora? Have you seen that?
That's a movie they made, right?
Escape at Dannemora?
Yeah.
No, it's a series. It's like so fucking good.
Yeah, I don't want to see it.
Patricia Arquette plays her.
Yeah, okay.
You don't want to see it?
No, I've seen it advertised. I don't want to see it. No.
Right. You don't like stuff like that at all?
I don't. It triggers me.
She was having sex with both, was in love with one.
But I don't think so, I think that's all Hollywood. I don't think that's actually how it turned out, I don't think it turned out that either one of them were having sex with her, or maybe one of them was, neither one of them, if you look at both of them, right, neither one of them were prizes, right? They're just average looking guys. Now inside
they're a little better than average, I would say. And they probably had some fucking sex appeal. Maybe she liked bad boys, you know what I mean?
Well, if you'd let
They're not sexy, sorry.
If you'd let me get to my fucking point. My point is there are guys in there who are super well groomed, work out every day, super buff, younger, take care of themselves like a motherfucker, that work in the very same place that would love to have a shot of that pussy. So I'm not buying that these guys...
You said that she was super unattractive. They would take anything. Then what are you saying?
If you're the main bull, or if you're a bull and there's nothing in the pasture but an old cow, you don't think you're going to hop down there and fuck the old cow? Of course you are.
But why wouldn't those guys be, those guys that you're talking about would have ladies from the outside that they could...
Can't fuck the ladies from the outside. Where are you going to fuck them?
You figured out a way. Are you the only person who figured out a way to have illegal trailer visits?
No, but my point is if she's putting out Everybody knows it. There's no hiding it if she's putting out. And these guys would be going to get it. These guys wouldn't have a chance.
But according to the
Wikipedia?
media, no, I'm off of Wikipedia now. I'm onto the more fucking tabloidy, juicy
According to Fox
bullshit
News.
sites. Yeah.
Yeah.
They worked her. They knew that they could work her because she was a homely, she was like that person who didn't have sex appeal. So they worked her, and she wasn't putting out. She was just having sex with them because they worked that shit.
Okay, so let's say they did, right? What did they give her to get her to bring in hacksaws? She said she wasn't having sex with either one. Let's believe that. What did they give her to bring in hacksaws?
I can't believe that. But adoration.
She got that at home apparently from her husband. He adored her apparently
Doesn't
because
matter.
he's still with her.
Her husband is not one of these handsome, strapping boys.
He was not fucking handsome. One of them was fucking 60 pounds overweight. Had to lose 50 pounds to get through a fucking pipe. And the other one is balding and what?
You're the sexy motherfucker. You have a bald head and you're fucking 40 pounds overweight.
I'm not 40 pounds overweight. Take that back.
30 pounds overweight.
I weigh 218.
And you're 5'2".
I am not. Oh, you lie like a motherfucker. Oh my god. All right, I'm not going to win this argument, so I'm just going to shut the fuck up.
All I'm saying is that,
What are you saying,
this
man?
girl, okay.
All I'm saying is let's hypothetically, let's say.
Okay, what happens in these crappy publications, right? They show her at her worst, and they show them at their best. So you see two guys who she probably never felt like she could have on the outside, right? So they knew that they could manipulate her. They made her feel special, and she giggled maybe for the first time, and then they're like, oh, yep, she's the one. You don't think so?
No.
You think she was putting out to everyone?
That's not what I said. I said let's dismiss the sex. Let's say there was no sex. She claims there was no sex.
I would think adoration would be enough for some people, some super insecure people. Why are you...
To bring hacksaw blades into a maximum security prison? Adoration? No.
I mean, it went on for a couple of years before she did that.
It doesn't matter. Hacksaw blades into a maximum security... Really? No. Something else is there, man.
Fucking COs are bringing knives in to sell to everyone left and right.
And what's the
She
motive?
probably heard about that. Money.
Okay. Did they pay her money?
I don't know, because every fucking
Because
publication...
she had to get someone else involved. And why did she have to get someone else involved?
Because she was scared. She couldn't take it the whole way, right?
She took it to a CO. You see? You're missing the nuance here.
And then he got money, right? Or no? He got money.
He got paintings.
Oh, he got paintings, that's right. That's right.
So she didn't set up the CO. She didn't set it up to give it to the CO. Matt did. Because that's who was giving the cop the paintings.
Yeah.
The cop wanted his paintings, and he said, well, this friend of mine is going to bring me some hamburger meat. Mm-hmm. And he's claimed that he didn't know that the weapons were in the hamburger, that the blades were in the hamburger meat. He just thought it was hamburger meat. So she would get hamburger meat, put the blades in it, freeze it, give it to him. He'd take it to his cell, drop it off, get his painting, right?
Yeah.
So he didn't know there was hacksaw blades in the hamburger meat. That's his claim. And he probably didn't. Mm-hmm.
Because that was his little hustle anyways, bringing hamburger meat for paintings. Who wouldn't want a fucking hamburger meat on the inside? Here's the problem. The
Everybody
real problem,
wants hamburger meat.
the DOC doesn't give real meat. They give fucking soy all the time. So people are desperate for hamburger meat.
And it makes
so
sense
this
to the
whole
CO.
scam was able to
So it
go
makes
on.
sense to the CO.
Yeah.
These guys want hamburger meat. I'll give you this painting. You like it. This lady's going to bring me hamburger meat, but I can't get it back to the block. Tell her to give it to me. I'll bring it back to the block.
That seems like a regular hustle.
It's a regular hustle.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get to. Been there, done that. Lived that life, right? So that's how it happens. Now, but it all boils down to this. Why would she bring hacksaw blades into a maximum security prison if she wasn't having sex? She claims she wasn't having sex. And we're going to dismiss that. We're going to say, okay, she wasn't having sex. We're going to believe that. Why would she bring hacksaw blades? You know what I mean? It's not a knife that a guy can use to defend himself, right? It's not an AM/FM radio that a guy can't normally have. Maybe a recording tape player that a guy can't have.
Yeah.
It's not something like that. It's not something truly harmless.
Yeah.
It's fucking hacksaw blades in a maximum security prison. Why?
Love.
Without sex?
That's what she does say, that she was in love with Sweat.
But not having sex.
Many people are in love with people before they have sex.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, when this shit went down in 2015, did you guys find out immediately?
Oh yeah, because outside crew was canceled, everything's canceled, locked down. Every jail was locked down.
Why?
Because all the COs had to go look for them.
Really?
Really. That's why it cost so much money, P. Every CO was out looking for them on overtime. They only had skeleton crews inside all the prisons.
But weren't you several hours away from there?
Hell yeah, but every CO took advantage to hop on that overtime and go drive to Dannemora to look for those guys. Absolutely.
So you were on total lockdown there?
Not total lockdown. We were in a limited program. Certain programs weren't running, yard times weren't running. Yeah, so it was a skeleton crew.
So they told you why right away? You're basically on lockdown because 2 people escaped from Clinton?
Yeah, it was all over the news anyway. They couldn't hide it. They can't tune out our radios, so we all knew it was on the radios.
So why is this different from when other people escaped, like on my Innocence Project lists?
Because somebody blew it up. Somebody called the media. That's
but
the
before
only
that, they don't have COs go out and look for people and lock down
Most of the escapes get caught immediately. Most of them get caught on grounds. Not many of them actually get away. These guys had like a 6-hour head start.
Don't you have to be a certain level of smart to escape in the first place?
I don't think so.
You just have to be bold enough.
Cunning, right? You have to be cunning. That doesn't necessarily mean you're intelligent. You may have the smarts to get out, but doesn't mean you have the smarts to know where to go.
Especially since you're going out, if you escape 9 times out of 10, you're escaping to an area you've never seen before.
I always knew that I always had the smarts to know that if I did escape, I wouldn't make it because there's no place for me to go. Where am I going? I never had that plan. If I had somebody on the outside saying, I'll be here at this certain time and I could count on them, then I know I could escape, get in the car with them or whatever, and away I go. I'm good. I mean, they would catch you eventually in these days and age, But back in the 80s was a different ballgame. I probably could have made it. Today, you're not going to go anyplace today. There's too much face recognition. There's too many cameras. You're not going anyplace today. You're not going to get away.
So when David Sweat got captured and went back into prison, what do you think the reception was? I mean, do you think people fucking hated him because he had caused them to be on partial or semi or whole lockdown, like what happened at Clinton? Or were people pissed off, or were they applauding him and welcoming him back?
Well, they were all, I'm sure, first of all, he never got to come in contact with any of them. None of them ever got to come in contact with him and never will. But I'm sure they were all motherfucking him, the stupid motherfucker, he got out and they caught him right here. What the fuck, man? I'd have done this and I'd have done that, like you were talking about earlier. Everybody has a better plan, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sure everybody was holding themselves up next to what they would have done versus what he did. So I'm sure they were motherfucking him,
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, their egos get involved, right? The reality is his plan fell apart when she didn't show up. Mm-hmm. He didn't have a plan B. So,
She was going to drive them off into the sunset, and she freaked out and didn't do it, right?
No, the original story, and this is what I believe, because she had a panic attack and signed herself into the hospital, which she had never had before. Mm. The night of, she has a panic attack, signs herself into the hospital.
Yeah.
Hospital says it's just a panic attack, which she'd never had before. So here's what the original plan was, and this is the original statement. They were going to meet up with her. She was going to drive them to their house. They were going to murder her husband.
Oh my God.
Take their life savings, which was in the house, and drive to Mexico.
They would have killed her, right?
They were going to kill him and drive to Mexico. Yeah, they were going to kill her too.
Yeah, they would have killed her because she would have just been baggage.
There would have been 2 of them. Yeah, they'd have killed them both. They'd have killed her and him. Absolutely. You have to.
I mean, I'm making a judgment that Sweat wasn't mutually in love with her, but come on, right?
Absolutely.
No one stuck up for her. He didn't stick up for her when this shit went down.
They were just using her. If that's the truth.
She got cold feet, yeah, for whatever reason. Maybe she got wind of that. Maybe she always knew, or maybe she just didn't want her husband to be harmed because he was like, why,
She probably thought they couldn't do it, that it would never happen. Mm. That's probably. I mean, I don't know how much of the plan of it that she knew. I doubt that she knew much of their plan. I'm sure they didn't tell her, but their plan was fucking brilliant. The way they did it.
So they must have told her that. What they did was they crawled through the pipes, right? They traveled through the pipes and climbed out of a manhole.
About a block away from the prison.
Yeah, and she was supposed to, but she must have known on that night, they must have told her, okay, we've got the whole tunnel. We're tunneling through this shit.
We're done.
Meet us here. And
Meet
then
us
she
here.
was like, oh my God.
She panicked. Went to the hospital instead.
Yeah.
Didn't show up. So when they came out of the manhole, she was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
When they came up, there was nobody there. But they still had a 6-hour head start.
Yeah.
So that goes to show you, intelligence versus just being good at one thing, right? So they were good at getting out,
Yep.
right?
Or just finding themselves in a fish out of water situation.
Okay, so what do you do? This is great. So let's say this is you.
Mm-hmm.
You come up through the manhole. Your ride's not there. What do?
I want to ask you, it's 9 o'clock. You gotta your curfew is 9, and it's 9. That's how much you care?
I'm late.
Let's close it out right now. You're being a defiant toddler right now.
I'm just going to send her a text, say I'm stuck in traffic like I always do.
Okay, so let's close out. Let's say...
Okay, good night.
People, if they're interested, should watch Escape at Dannemora. Or just look into this case because it's kind of nuts. And there are a lot of layers, and who the fuck knows what happened, but everyone's got an opinion. Shall we sign off?
Sign off. Thanks for showing up. We've got some good feedback. We were going to read some feedback tonight, but we're out of time. My curfew is passed.
The boss is in trouble. So if we don't hear from us next week, you'll know what happened.
I was hanging out with you guys past curfew and got spanked.
So you got it, yeah.
But I think I'll be fine. I'll just tell her there was traffic on the bridge. And, see you next week. All right, everyone. Good night.
Adios, motherfuckers.
Sayonara.
Why do we say sayonara? How did we ever get into that?
Because our friend over there says sayonara.
No, it was even before that.
Oh, I don't know. I see this thing on I think it was YouTube or something. It's called a buzzball. You ever seen it?
No.
It's like super, super stupid. It's about the size of this wine glass right here. It's called a buzzball, and it's full of some green liquid, and it's some kind of